August 27, 2025. Inside Annunciation Catholic Church in southwest Minneapolis, the morning was supposed to be sacred. A school-wide Massachusetts. Children in uniforms fidgeting in the pews. Parents proud and smiling. Teachers making sure everyone behaved. But minutes later, that peace was ripped apart. A shooter opened fire through the stained glass windows. Children and seniors were hit. In the chaos, 2 children were killed. 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel and 10-year-old Harper Moyski. The shooter, a former student. A 23-year-old man who had once sat in those same pews. His name was Robin Westman. And this story isn't just about what he did. It's about how he got here. How a boy raised in the same community, he destroyed grew into someone obsessed with mass murder. And the chilling part? He left behind journals explaining it all.
Here's my note to my family and shit. 9mm page, brought to you by here. That's the big one. And this one's for me, in case I need it. I'm such a fucking sick fuck. A sick fuck. Fall apart.
Robin Daniel Westman was born on June 17, 2002, in Minneapolis. His family wasn't rich, but they weren't poor either. His mom worked part-time at Annunciation Catholic School. His dad, though often away, worked maintenance jobs. Robin was baptized at Annunciation. He took his first communion there. He was an altar boy for 2 years. If you ask his early teachers, he was quiet, polite, even a little shy. He loved sketching superheroes in his notebooks. Nothing about him screamed future gunman. But here's the first conversational question for you. When you hear about mass shooters, do you ever wonder, could their lives have turned out differently if someone had stepped in early? For Robin, the turning point came in middle school. He struggled socially. He wasn't athletic. He wasn't popular. His classmates describe him as the quiet kid who sat in the back. Some kids tease him. Nothing extreme, but enough that he carried it with him. At home, he found solace online. At first, it was harmless. Gaming forums, comic sites. But as the years went on, the places he visited grew darker. By high school, Robin had grown tall and lanky. He wore oversized hoodies. He didn't talk much in class. Teachers noticed his artwork had shifted. The superheroes were gone. Now his sketches showed guns, knives, and burning buildings. When asked, he shrugged it off, just a phase. But it wasn't. In his bedroom, Robin had started keeping private journals. Investigators would later read them and discover page after page of violent fantasies. By 2016, he was reading obsessively about Columbine, Sandy Hook, Parkland. And here's where it gets unsettling. He didn't just read about the shooters, he admired them. He wrote about how they made people listen. In 2018, during his senior year, he was suspended for bringing a knife to school. He told staff it was for protection. No charges were filed. After graduation, he drifted. He worked at a grocery store, then as a delivery driver. He never lasted more than a few months. The loneliness grew, and with it his obsession. In one journal entry, he wrote, "The world doesn't care about me, but they'll remember me, just like they remember them." By 2020, Robin was 18. While many of his peers were heading to college or trades, he was sinking further into online rabbit holes. He joined forums where anonymous users glorified mass shootings. He saved manifestos. He watched body cam footage of past attacks. And then he started planning his own. His target? The place where his story began. Annunciation Catholic Church. Why there? Investigators say it was both personal and symbolic. Personal, because he grew up in that parish. Symbolic, because he felt the Catholic Church lied to him. He even scrawled in his notes, "I'll return the house of God, but not as a sheep." Between 2022 and 2025, he quietly amassed weapons, legally purchased firearms, hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Neighbors saw him carrying long cases to his car, but assumed he was into hunting. Nobody suspected, but behind closed doors, he was rehearsing. In the months before the attack, his journals became frantic. T-minus 40 days. The glass will shatter. They'll remember me forever. That Tuesday began like any other. Students in uniform walked into Annunciation Catholic Church, the sanctuary filled with parents, grandparents, and teachers. At 8:27 a.m., the foursome started. Outside, Robin sat in his old sedan. On the seat beside him, an AR-15 style rifle, a 12-gauge shotgun, a handgun, a smoke device, and his final journal entry, "No escape. Today, the truth will be heard." He stepped out, rifle in hand. At 8:29 a.m., he opened fire. Bullets smashed through stained glass windows, spraying shards across the pews. At first, some thought it was a car backfiring, but the second volley removed all doubt. Children screamed. Teachers yelled for everyone to get down. Parents dove over their kids. Westman was outside, firing relentlessly. He had barricaded several church exits from the outside earlier that morning. People were trapped. Bullets ripped through the sanctuary. 8-year-old Fletcher Merkel and 10-year-old Harper Moyski were killed instantly. 18 others, children, teachers, grandparents, were injured. Inside, chaos reigned. A teacher pressed her scarf to a boy's bleeding shoulder. A parent shielded 3 children under the pews. Elderly parishioners prayed aloud, voices shaking. Westman fired 116 rounds in just 4 minutes. Then silence. At 8:31 a.m., police arrived. Westman was already dead from a self-inflicted gunshot. Firefighters smashed through the barricaded exits. Paramedics rushed in. Children were carried out in arms, some covered in blood. Others were walked out, hands shaking, clutching rosaries. Outside, triage tents filled quickly. Parents arrived in waves, some finding their children safe, others receiving the worst news of their lives. One mother fainted when she learned her son had been killed. Another father sobbed uncontrollably as paramedics worked on his daughter. And above it all, the church bell tolled, its sound haunting against the screams and sirens. In the days that followed, survivors shared their stories. A 12-year-old girl whispered that she hid under her hymnal, praying as glass rained down. A teacher described lying across 3 children, feeling bullets strike the few inches from her head. One elderly woman recalled telling 2 boys, "Close your eyes. Don't look." These voices painted a picture not just of horror, but of courage.
It was very scary. It was like my friend got shot in the back. He's in the hospital right now. It was super scary because we've never practiced it in the church. We've only practiced it in the main school, so we really didn't know what to do. We just got into the pews and he shot through the stained glass windows.
Do you have friends that got hit by bullets?
Yeah, my best friend did.
Have you heard what happened with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. And then my friend, he was laying on top of me, making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's gotta be tough.
Yeah, I'm just confused kinda, cause I never thought it would happen and it just happened, so just kinda crazy.
Police and FBI agents scoured Westman's car, home, and online accounts. They confirmed he acted alone. He planned for months. He barricaded exits intentionally to maximize casualties. His journals contained timelines counting down to the attack, praise for past shooters, rants against Catholicism, a line that read, "The walls where I was lied to will fall with me." Agents concluded the attack was domestic terrorism motivated by hate. And yet, no clear trigger was found. It was the culmination of years of isolation, obsession, and rage. Minneapolis was shattered, but almost immediately, the community gathered. Vigils were held nightly. Candles lit up the steps of Annunciation. Teddy bears, flowers, and hand-drawn cards covered the sidewalk. At one vigil, a classmate of Harper's whispered, "She always shared her crayons." At another, Fletcher's teacher broke down. He loved dinosaurs. He should still be here. Across the nation, churches held moments of silence. Politicians debated gun laws. The White House issued a statement condemning the violence. Weeks later, Father O'Leary stood at the altar where the attack began and said, "Evil entered these walls, but faith remains, and love remains, and our children's memory remains." Plans were announced for a permanent memorial for Fletcher and Harper. Counselors continued working with the surviving children. Some still flinched at loud noises. Others asked, "Is the bad man coming back?" For Minneapolis, the scars will last. And for America, the shooting is another chilling reminder. Even the most sacred places are not safe from violence. 8:15 a.m., students enter church. 8:20 a.m., Robin arrives, parks nearby. 8:27 a.m., hymn begins. 8:29 a.m., first shots fired through stained glass. 8:30 a.m., multiple 911 calls flood dispatch. 8:31 a.m., first officer arrives, finds Westman dead. 8:34 a.m., SWAT secures perimeter. Paramedics begin triage. 8:40 a.m., first children transported to hospitals. 2002, born in Minneapolis. 2008, starts at Annunciation Catholic School. 2014, withdrawn, bullied at middle school. 2016, begins journaling violent fantasies. 2018, suspended for knife possession. 2020, graduates high school unemployed. 2021 to 2024, online radicalization deepens. Purchases firearms. 2025, executes attack on August 27th. 911 operators describe chaos on the calls. Screaming, children crying, adults begging for help. The first responding officer later told reporters, "The hardest part wasn't the blood, it was the silence afterwards." SWAT medics described walking into a sanctuary that looked like a battlefield. Counselors deployed to the school. Parents formed a support group called Faith Strong. Survivors and families pushed for new security measures in schools and churches. The Annunciation shooting reignited debates over gun laws, domestic terrorism classifications, church and school security. It became a national talking point, both politically and culturally. So, what do we do with this story? We could focus on a monster who planned it for years, who thought he'd make history. Or we could remember Fletcher and Harper, two kids whose lives were stolen in a place that should have been the safest. Because at the end of the day, this isn't Robin's story. It's theirs.